correspond with the tripod that was drawn underneath the girl's craft.
To this day, Kelly still doesn't know exactly what happened to her that night.
Tried a little bit.
Her most vivid memory is the fear that she felt.
That's very good. It's finally come out to what I'm looking for. And I think a lot of people, you know, might have experienced the fear in a nightmare where you're being chased or something like that, and it's a terror that you feel that, you know, sometimes can wake you up or whatever, but it's absolutely horrifying when you're dreaming it. And that's exactly what I was feeling while I was totally awake. That sort of terror, actually having to feel it while you're conscious and physically awake and feel it as a reality, is like a living nightmare, like a nightmare had come to life.
We've moved out onto 138 acres. We don't have electricity. We use all our own fuel, like for both our fires. We're in the process of trying to become self-sufficient as far as food's concerned. We just lead just a very different lifestyle.
Denise Borrett says it's her encounters with strange beings that have helped her make the decision to live this way.
There's one of our missing. I believe at the moment that they're giving us quite a dire warning about what's happening to the planet and what's going to happen to us unless we actually wake up to what we're actually doing. They seem to open parts of your mind that aren't open before, and or they help you to do that. I don't know, but all I know is that I'm a very changed person since I've had my experience.
Well, lifestyle changes you'd think shouldn't happen to people if these things aren't physically occurring. So I guess it's a little piece of evidence to suggest that something really startling and extraordinary must have happened to a person because of the changes that they do go through.
Denise says her visitors have the ability to render her husband unconscious, so he never actually experiences the aliens, but he does have physical scars.
Well, I know I've got a lot of scars on my body, and I know basically where they all came from, but this one, in that particular place, I've got no idea. I just woke up one morning and I happened to comment to her, so I've got this funny little mark on my arm, and she had a look and she had one in exactly the same place because she said she could remember it happening.
And I can actually remember them cutting it. I can remember it was like a little spatula or whatever. But again, there was no pain or anything, and the next day mine had completely healed up, whereas Les's had actually scarred.
And I thought, well, they're in identical spots and they're identical size, so obviously something was going on.
People who've had multiple abduction experiences very often get very concerned about the environment. They get very concerned about healthy lifestyles. They get very interested in the possibility of life elsewhere. They get very interested in promoting the message that there's something actually going on.
If things do go haywire on the planet, like I believe they will, that we at least will be able to feed ourselves and not have to rely on man-made energy to keep ourselves going.
It's pretty obvious that the people that had these experiences are convinced there's more to what's out there than most of us realise. They're also the first to admit that their stories can be hard to accept.
Most of what is released as UFO footage is really stuff that the government has thrown out there and wants to throw out there to throw people off the track. Because I think if people knew what was the truth, that it would discredit the government, and their whole perception of reality would have to shift and change, and they would no longer hold the power that they do as, you know, the military-industrial complex that it is today.
Could UFO evidence like this and people's testimony from Hawaii bring the government to finally release and give disclosure?
The red herring is like when there's a whole bunch of things thrown out there. Maybe there's 20 things thrown out, but only one is real. The other ones are designed to either prove it to be fake, so that you don't believe the one that is real, or are designed to confuse and manipulate and control.
Much of what the government has shown is to really cause us to ask questions. Is there always something out there? They've caused so much chaos within the whole community, the global community. It's protect what they've got. And all the incidents that have occurred here in the United States and all over, they have used all the technology. And basically the government and those other companies in the world have protected their sources. And we know this. And now it's coming up to the truth, and the truth will be heard.
Yeah, so that day I had my video camera and I was in my kitchen. Yeah, my cousin Johnny was just screaming, saying, "Oh, come out!" I was like, so he came over here, and then right there, you can see him in the background. Yeah, I've been seeing lights in the sky since I was a little kid. You know, maybe we're out here isolated out in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, we went out there. It looked metallic, shiny. You know, it was a real windy day, I remember. It was big. It was like 15, 20 feet, like the size of my truck. It was huge. It was just sitting there for like 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, I've been seeing lights in the sky since I was a little kid. You know, maybe we're out here isolated out in the middle of the ocean, Pacific Ocean. Maybe, you know, the UFOs like coming to Hawaii because we're so isolated out here, you know. Maybe they love it. Who knows? So I'll come out every night. Before I go sleep, I look at the stars with my camera to see if I can capture anything. And this one night I was out here, I looked in the sky and I was like, no, that's not no star. It was moving, it was creating this shape. I looked up and I said, it looked like a bright cross. So I was like, no, that's not no star, no satellite. It doesn't move like that and make like a shape in the sky. So I just kept filming. It was well lit, you know, the nice moon in the sky. There's no other stars in the sky, so except this bright orb looking light shaped like a cross. Was the atmosphere would look like it was in our atmosphere, not in the sky. It was amazing. I live 4 miles away from a special place. Waipio, Valley of the Kings, a very sacred place. Sacred burial grounds. You know, Waipio is special to the Hawaiians. Well, I just go continue to keep my eyes in the sky. I'll always have my camera out, and hopefully one day I'll have the answers to what's going on in the skies over Hawaii. Orlando Smith, a musician, captures something amazing over the Hamakua coast. A military C-17 transport tracked by an unknown object.
You know, I've been living in Hawaii for 20 years, about 22 years actually. And I came here originally because of the beauty of the natural landscape. There's a lot of people, I have a lot of friends that have told me countless stories about things that they've seen, experiences and stuff. And, you know, I never really, I can't say that I believe or disbelieve. I have never really seen anything like this that has really been so unidentifiable. Just, I don't know what the heck is going on there. So I came up here to get some shots of the Pink Church, and I look to the coast and I see this big military transport, kind of looked like a C-17 or something like that. A huge jet. I get some shots of the jet, I start videoing the jet, you know, just out of curiosity or something. And an object like the size of a minivan or something flies up behind the jet, and I'm shooting the jet and I see this thing fly right in.
With steady hands and calm nerves, Orlando Smith captures something amazing over the Hamakua coast. What is this object tracking the C-17? With video evidence like this, it leaves one to wonder, are we alone?
If you want to really know what the truth is, there's a lot of things that have been declassified now. And so you can write and you can find them out. And ask questions. And don't just take the pat answers as truth. You know, seek them out. And in your meditation and your prayers, we all have this inner knowingness of what is right and what is wrong. We're born with it. Just like the birds are born with a homing device that they can follow north and they can migrate. We have an internal compass which tells us what is truth and what is not. And listen to that internal compass. Again, most of what they're going to throw out there isn't true. And it's designed to throw you off the track. But if you listen inside and you can see the signs of what is true and you see things happen to you, perhaps there's a knowingness that you have and you find it to be true, and all these dots are pointing the way to a certain direction in your life. Listen to that. That internal barometer inside of you is going to really, it'll put you on the right path.
Orlando explains on how he was on the right path, capturing his UFO.
So I kept filming the jet and the object as I was following it across the horizon, and as I zoomed in, I was like trying to figure out, what is this object? I couldn't explain what it was. How could something have flown right up to the jet and then be passing, be like almost attached to the jet, like it was gonna dock to the jet or something like that? I was like, is this some kind of crazy maneuver where something is approaching the military transport and gonna dock like in the movies or something like that? I was like, what is this thing? So then as I zoomed in, I'm thinking maybe it was a parachute or something that got tangled up, and then somehow they were gonna bring it in, because it was approaching the thing from the back. It wasn't like going away from the vehicle. So I was like, what could possibly be approaching the vehicle that close? And then so when I started zooming in, you could see there's no parachute, there's no cables, there's no nothing. All you see is a big metallic object like the size of a minivan. The crazy thing is the shot's only 26 seconds. And it seemed like I was shooting forever as I was following the thing across the horizon. And I still don't know what that other vehicle was, but I knew when I was getting this shot that this is some crazy thing happening here, some military related. So I'm still thinking it's got to be like some kind of military refueling transport, you know. But when I zoomed in, you can see there's no lines, there's no cables, there's no gas refueling line, there's no lines pulling the thing. I mean, as far as you can see, and I zoomed it in all the way, and it's like the resolution is incredible. It's only 26-second shot, but I lost it right across the horizon, like right out there. It was a beautiful day that day too, unlike today, which is totally overcast, but that day it was a spectacular day, perfect day in paradise. No clouds in the sky. I feel like I just really lucked out. I had all my gear, I was all set up. The reason why the ships come to Hawaii is one of the things is that they remove some of the sacred waters that are here. Lots of the planets do not have water. And so they take the water and take it to their sites in other planets or galaxies. And this is one of the reasons that it's so important that we keep this earth in balance, and it has to be cared for. It is that sacred. There are a lot of military reservations on the Big Island, right on top of Mauna Kea, Poakaloa training area. And you know, there's a high concentration of military activity on the island that may be a factor. I never leave home without my camera after this event. I mean, I'm always looking now because I'm starting to think that a lot of these crazy stories that I've heard from friends around here, there may be some truth to some of them.
It is no secret that the military government and the U.S. have weapons and technology they want to keep secret. Will truth ever be revealed in regards to UFOs?
The U.S. government is still going to hold up to what they have. And it's not necessary for us to go out and ask the government. It is necessary for us as a people living on this earth. We are in control of what we see and what we believe. If we believe that this is happening, and it is happening, well, this is occurring, and the people got to now see the presence of their star family. It's all going to happen. A lot of the people are going to see the technology and receive it, and they're going to use it to better mankind, to balance this earth, and to do the different things that's necessary to make the changes and the shift towards balance.
Pyramids throughout the world have been among us for thousands of years. We're here in the South Pacific. My name's Blake Cousins, and what lies behind me may be more evidence of ancient pyramids right here in the South Pacific. This is a massive structure. You could really appreciate the work put into this monument. Some of these stones are massive, weighing up to 300 to 400 pounds. And as you follow me along here, you could tell and see this wall just stretch for about a whole football field. This is absolutely amazing. Pyramids were built to worship their gods in the heavens. Could it be that the Hawaiians believed in outer space beings from other worlds? It is said in history this massive structure was built in a day, with over 10,000 Hawaiians carrying stone to stone, man to man, to build this massive structure. And we've just seen a little peek of what is actually out there. We're here now at the base of the pyramid, from the top to the bottom, and just look at the mass and length of the work that was put into this massive structure here. If you could appreciate, like me, the theory of ancient astronauts, this theoretically could be a sign from the gods. The mystery of pyramids here in the South Pacific scientifically has not been supported, but with evidence like this, how could it be denied? My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again at Third Phase of Moon.
In the small, quaint town of Honoka'a on the Hamakua coast lives Dr. Ton Keeney, also owner of the Honoka'a People's Theater. He explains an extraordinary sighting he had on the island of Maui.
I am Dr. Ton Keeney. I am a physician in Honoka'a on the Big Island of Hawaii. I've been in practice in Honoka'a for 35 years. Well, it was certainly my only UFO encounter that I'm aware of, at least. And in order to do that, I'll have to, I think, give you some preface. I've actually told this story a few times over the intervening 35 years because the events I'm going to tell you about occurred 35 years ago. And but I think, some of the preface is important to actually understanding, why I have attached the significance I have to what I saw. So this was in 1976, I suppose late summer. I had just finished residency in Queen's Hospital in Honolulu, and I had 6 months of time before I would eventually take a job here in Hamakua as physician at the Hamakua Health Center. And I was just traveling around the island. I spent quite a bit of time in Maui. I had a little MG over there that, but I didn't have a house to stay in, so I was just traveling around. My routine was to go up to the summit of Haleakala and hike down into the crater, and or maybe hike down one side or the other, and back and forth. I just would go down and then go back up again and do it all again. So I think you have to understand how quiet it is in the crater, because I think that's part of the story here. I remember sitting on a rock at the top of Sliding Sands Trail, which is the trail down into Haleakala, and watching a lone hiker hike down the trail and listening to the crunch of his footsteps as he was descending. After some time, I noticed that the crunch of those footsteps, although receding, I was still able to hear them when the foot changed to the other foot, and then the crunch changed back again to the same foot that he had started with. Now, I'm not sure I can compute it accurately, but I think that probably means I was hearing this gentleman's footsteps, and he was probably about half a mile away, maybe a quarter of a mile at least. So, very quiet environment. I also remember once hearing the beating of wings, and then looking around to see a bird flying pretty far off in the distance. That's something that I had never experienced before. All of these are just little stories to I think demonstrate just how quiet it is in the crater, and the importance of that is that I was staying in the crater one evening. There are cabins there. Sometimes I would be lucky enough to get into a cabin, but most of the time I would just sleep outside with a tent or sleeping bag. And I had climbed the wall of the crater just a ways above Holua cabin, and so I was probably 100 feet off the ground, maybe 200 feet off the higher than the surface of the crater. And then I stayed there for a while in fact after sunset. It's so beautiful, and you know, some scenes are just hard to leave. But in the midst of all that beauty and stillness, on the rim, over the rim of the crater, and I think it was beyond Sliding Sands Trail, but over the rim of the crater I saw two lights that actually emerged up over the rim and then came down and actually seemed as if they were flying inside the crater itself, into you know, below the level of the rim of the crater. And the crater is about 7 miles across, so it's a very big open space. You know, in those days, and I guess subsequently, I have heard that there has been a number of UFO sightings over Haleakala, and but it's just not something I pay much attention to. Like I said, I actually have had very little time to ponder those things over the subsequent years. And first of all, I can see it in my mind right now, of course, because it was a fascinating thing to me. Basically, it looked like two headlights. And again, they rose above the rim of the crater. And I would have guessed, if I haven't actually ever thought about it, but I would have imagined something like 300, 400, 500 yards above the rim of the crater. And then they came down into, within the rim. And those two headlights, again, that would be the best I could say. I couldn't see a body that was holding these two lights together, but I'm sure there must have been, because they were in perfect unison, and they went across the crater. Again, it's about 7 miles across, and they disappeared into a cloud bank that was coming up out of Kaupo Gap. Kaupo Gap is kind of where, you know, millions of years ago, lava poured out of the crater into down the, I believe, Kipahulu side of Maui. And the one thing that was most interesting about that is that through all of and the reason I told you about the bird flapping its wings and about following the hiker down the trail, is that there was no sound whatsoever, you know, as these lights flew across and down into the crater and across the crater. And that was the thing that most impressed me, you know, and kept me wondering for all of these years, occasionally, well, what was that? What do I believe? You know, the truth is, as a result of that and as a result of some people's stories that I've heard, I have a very open mind about these things could be, you know, what? Alien spacecraft? I have no idea. But at least I'm open to the possibility that it's not something that is explainable by the things that, you know, my culture has taught me.
All right, Reynolds, this is some of the video that I thought you'd be interested in taking a look at. This was shot over the Pacific, and what it shows is some kind of structure in the clouds. Is this similar to the UFO that you explained to me that you saw in Nevada?
Yes, and these are type of UFOs that are what they call chatna. This is a chatna type of UFO. The chatna is comes from a faraway galaxy, and what happens is that what they're doing is observation, and the reason for the observation is that many places are being checked out for not only what the people are doing, but just observe them during this time and period as the transition occurs.
All right, Reynolds, I want you to take a look at this video. It was apparently shot over Maui.
And you know, from what I see here is that this video indicates to me that this sighting of a UFO was people that came from the light. They indicated this and showing this that there is a connection between us and the star family.
You know, people talk about the Galactic Federation of Lights. Is this what they're referring to?
That is what they are referring to, because Maui is a very strategic area for UFOs in entering and exit.
People speak of interdimensional beings as well. Is there kind of a correlation between the two?
Yes, because of the fact that we are together. We are the beings. We are here already. We don't have to wait for no one else. This is the fact that we are the ones that have been waiting for each other. And now we're coming together. And this intergalactic being is us. We're here already.
Hey Reynolds, there's one more video I want you to take a look at.
Sure.
We at Third Phase of Moon receive videos from around the world of many UFOs, and they come in amazing shapes and sizes. The viewers say at home that this resembles some kind of crucifix. Can you explain a little further on what you think this could be?
This is a type of ship they call a hana, which is the ship that takes in water. They travel throughout the places to receive the sacred waters. So you see 4 of it, and it moves in different directions to receive water from falls, ocean, sides, whatever it may be, to pick up the circuit water and take it to different planets. These are, because there's no water on other planets, this ship is very important. It takes it back to the mothership, who delivers it up to the planets.
Absolutely fantastic. If our viewers back at home wanted to get in touch with you in regards to spirituality and higher being, how would they do so?
Please contact me by my email, and it's located at the bottom of this video. Mahalo.
A new resident of Hawaii from Arizona comes to Hilo Bay and finds himself in the middle of an amazing encounter.
I'm Nick Pierce. I'm 23. I'm from Arizona. Just moved to Hawaii. I have not seen UFOs before since being here. That's about it. I believe in UFOs, though, definitely, for sure, that they exist. Oh, it totally looked like, in my opinion, it looked like a ship mast. Just kind of all lined up like that, but it wasn't a ship mast. It looked like 3 planes, so like a big plane and 2 smaller planes, like that. So I pulled over to the right on the side of the road there after seeing these bright lights, and I kind of felt kind of blessed. I'm like, here's something I gotta see. So started filming it and everything, and just looking at these really bright lights just reflecting off the water and totally vivid. Me and there's like maybe like 20 other people watching the same phenomenon, and it was definitely mind-blowing. Everybody just sitting there and just totally awestruck by this vivid bright light. And it just totally looked like a ship mast. I mean, we're in Hilo Bay, mind you, so it could have been a ship, could have been a military drone. I really don't know what it was, but it was definitely something. And I don't know, just kind of how it panned out, like I said, kind of like straight like that, and it also just kind of lined up like totally horizontal, and it was just so vivid, definitely. Definitely my friends, when I showed them the video, they didn't really believe me. They kind of said, oh, aliens don't exist, or UFOs don't exist. I said, no, I didn't see a UFO. I just saw a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, captured it on camera, and showed them something different, gave them something to think about. Like I said, most of my friends, they didn't really believe. I didn't really believe it either, but I'm not calling it a UFO or anything. I just saw something special. That's all I saw. Yeah, it was totally just like when the light first happened, when I first saw it. There weren't a lot of people there, so I pull up, and then behind me there was like 5 or 6 cars. You know, they all pulled us off the same way too. They just all just stopped, and they're just like totally just like awestruck. It was just this mass hysteria. You know, I'm clicking everything, and everybody's coming in, screaming and hollering, pulling out their cameras, and they just want to get a picture of the lights. You know, they want to see what the lights are and everything, and it was just totally mass hysteria. Everybody's like, come to the light, come to the light. And once they saw the light, they're just like sitting there, just totally just, like I said, awestruck. Definitely since I've been here in Hawaii, I've definitely, you know, noticed some things. In Arizona, the sky is not so clear. You can't really, you know, it's not really, I haven't seen any sightings in Arizona, not at all. Not met anybody who ever seen anything like that before. But since I moved here in Hawaii, the skies are clear. And I could definitely, you know, I can look up at the sky now and definitely notice that there's going to be something up there. I've gotten in contact with some people that, you know, have seen things like that before, hundreds of sightings. And, you know, you see it on Facebook, YouTube, Google UFOs, you get hundreds of sightings. And on the Big Island, right here, I'm going to always have this ready. That way I can capture them extra special moments, and, you know, I see in the sky, whether they be lights, UFOs, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna capture those moments, and I'm gonna share them with everybody that I know. That way I can give them a different perspective and make them think about something extraordinary.
We receive videos from around the world in regards to UFO phenomena. Now, today and this week, we're going to go over a special 5-step program on how to capture UFOs properly. Now let's get to step 1 right now. Step 1, keep it cool. When you see something strange and unusual in the sky for the first time, it can get exciting. But just remember your surroundings, time and place, and then proceed to step 2. Step 2, keep it steady. Whether you have an HD camera or a small iPhone, it's always important to stabilize on the object. Whether you have to go down on your knee and just stabilize, that's what it takes, get the shot. Remember, steady shots equals great video. For example, this is a very shaky shot in comparison to a steady shot like this. Step 3, perspective. Whether an object is against a black or blue sky, it's very important to get some kind of material object in the foreground or background. A building, street lights perhaps. The more information and material we get to see within the video gives us more of a perspective on how large this craft or crafts could be. Zooming in and zooming out at times on the object is very helpful, and pans every once in a while. Now on to step 4. Step 4, focus. One of the largest complaints we get here at Third Phase of Moon is blurry footage. It's very important to set your camera off from the auto-focusing mechanism. When you're filming a UFO for the first time, you don't need your camera trying to help you out.
Autofocus sucks so bad, dude.
Blurry images always seem to have a problem with viewers. If you want to get a good UFO shot, keep it in focus like this. It's best to set your camera on infinity for best results. Now on to step 5. Now on to step 5 and the most important step. When you've captured something amazing, it could be possible smoking gun footage. Make a backup of the copy immediately, then upload it to YouTube. If you've captured anything amazing in regard